Okay, last section,
Yep.
manage. Okay, so here's the key activities. You want to scan the environments, continually assess your business model, right? Continually assess the environment and your products, rejuvenate or rethink your business model.
Mhm.
Uh, Nothing wrong with making some little twists to the model, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you bring in a whole nother vertical of customer value proposition, right? Maybe you add a freemium model in there, have it wrap in, see how it supports the rest of the model. Be
Mhm.
brave, have some fun, rejuvenate it, guys. Keep the energy high. Marry outside of your family sometimes, right? It's okay. Tennessee. All right. Align this.
You have something against Tennessee, don't you?
I love Tennessee, man. I really do love Tennessee. These are my brothers. Um,
They're just easy to pick on.
the Tennessee boys are good, right? Lighthearted, fun. They're laughing with me. They're like, "I told this," right?
Yeah, they are,
Um,
they are.
and my grandmother wish I stopped making that joke at the dinner table. Okay, but her brother that she married is also laughing.
Yeah.
So what can I say? Uh,
Oh,
align,
no.
align business
No.
models throughout the enterprise and manage synergies or conflicts between models.
Mhm,
I love managing conflicts and synergies. This is kind of fun for me because this is where you're thinking, you're making sure
mhm,
things are still jiving. Conflict for me is a beautiful thing as long as we have a healthy culture and we have a purpose driven approach to being
mhm,
open with each other. There's no winners, there's no losers. Everything's a learning situation, right? It's okay to be wrong, right? There's actually, it's good to be wrong in a learning environment, and you're probably way more wrong than you think you are. So don't punish people for being wrong when you're going through any of these processes.
mhm.
Critical success factors: long-term perspective, proactiveness, and governance of business models. Governance of business models, that's such a complex thing, isn't it? It sounds innocent, but as I've said, I love having multiple business models inside a company, right? This shows
Mhm.
me that you are being adaptive and flexible and you're testing concepts out. For me, it tends to be around a product line that you do a business model or a service offering, right?
Yes.
But it's
Yeah.
something you want to section out to be able to adapt. Tends to be a special case that could become quite profitable and maybe overtake your main concept model. If you
Yep.
found yourself that you're starting to feel commoditized, for example, then this is the time that you need to start looking at testing a sub business model. And there's a whole section on if it should be internal, external, or replace your existing. And key dangers here are becoming the victim of your own success and failing to adapt. Guys, don't
Yep.
become the old guard in your company. You CEOs out there, I love you. Keep the energy going. Keep us on the hook. Love it.
Sorry, I just had a pop up. Oh no. Anyway, go on. Anything else?
Nothing else. Let's see. I mean, just consider. So here's the thing: the way to how to do this, right?
Mhm.
There's two parts, right? One is organizations, for me, large organizations, as you grow, and this is the growth thing, right? This is the stage this is like a year in, right?
Mhm.
This isn't, your first few months. This is you're growing, you're adapting, you're making sure you're not becoming irrelevant.
Mhm.
Culture is a big deal, and when I was in the military, I never really appreciated as much as I should the social events and sometimes the corporate meetings for growth and looking forward, right? Now,
Right.
the growth and looking forward stuff wasn't so much of when I was in the military, but in corporate America is also very rare, but it's overlooked that you can combine these in meaningful ways, and they should be combined. There's times to have social events, pull the leaders away for a few minutes, ideate, get the creativity while it's kind of fun and jovial, and then
Yeah.
go back to the community, having that social interaction, getting the families together, and having some fun. Um, but that's different. There's those times, and getting the organization away out of their standard day-to-day operation, out of their West Virginia house over into a Tennessee house or barbecue garden for a while, change up the environments and go have some fun, meet some people, bring some new creativity.
Yep.
So make that part of the culture. Have these workshops. Workshop, fun, workshop, right? Business. Keep it consistent, keep it routine. Not
Hmm.
that the activities routine, but it's part of the culture. It's expected. It's planned. Don't say, "Hey guys, tomorrow is Veterans Day, and we're going to call everybody in. You will be there. You're going to be fired." Right? That's not what I'm talking about. Plan that stuff ahead and make it amazing.
Yep. I mean, one of the big things that you have to also understand is that like culture comes down from the top. That's a big issue.
Culture is
And
top driven,
yep.
and it's
It-
repeated, and
yep.
it is what's valued. It is hard to hide what you
Yes.
actual value. Um, it's
Yep.
easy to not express your culture in the way
Yeah.
that you mean to, right? Repetition is a big deal, but it's easy for people to see your bullshit. You're bullshitting your
Yep.
culture. You don't believe what you say. You're just
Yeah.
doing some kind of corporate shit.
I
So
mean,
try to really
a lot
live
of
your culture.
times what people will sit there and say is it's a hypocrisy of you say one thing but you're actually doing something else. That's it's cliche to say that, but that's a big aspect of
Yeah, that's it.
yeah.
People see hypocrisy and they smell bullshit,
Yep, exactly. Yep.
and neither of them taste great.
No, exactly. Okay, so I think we covered a lot of that, a lot of everything. We covered a lot of ground today, and we kind of had to rush through there at the end because our time is coming to an
This
end,
one tiny little
unfortunately.
section.
I know,
How
but
did
there's so
this
much.
14 pages take so long?
How does any of it take so long?
I don't think we're very smart.
You know what? I wonder about that. Hmm.
I so wanted to cover another 100 pages today.
Yeah, there was no way. I knew it was not going to happen at all.
Well, I'm going to say you
So,
sabotaged me by going through strategy.
sure.
Okay.
Maybe
I
we'll
don't
put the
I don't know if that
strategy
would.
stuff behind the paywall.
Oh yeah, there it is. If you ever want to see
Yeah,
strategy.
yeah, exactly. All right, dude. Anything
You know what?
else?
This was fun, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
I like
it's
this. For
it's
me,
always good.
process is a big deal. This is where you really
There it
decide
is.
how you're going to be successful and to go through it. I hope we gave a lot of hints on execution of this process. This is it's a big deal. It's a lot of fun.
It is. Like I'm a process oriented person. I like processes. I like looking at them and trying to make it better for people. Um, I think would be a good way of putting it.
Yeah, see,
Um,
I just like seeing people do it right, which means my way. The only problem is I don't often know what my way is going to be ahead of time.
yeah, what is your way?
I don't know, but I know it's always right
Always right. Always.
and
You're
speedy.
always right. But like I think a lot of people do not truly appreciate process, and how important it is to have a process and follow it.
I think I think a lot of people do. I think there's just so many options out there, so many ways to go about developing your process that there's not a lot of clear executable information out there. And what I liked about
Mm,
this book is it really gave you enough where you can sit down and say, okay, cool. How do I execute this stage? What does
yeah.
that look like? All right, cool. Yeah, they don't tell me they don't give me a model for that, but I could go on a chat GPT, describe what I'm looking at and have it produce a model, a role model, not a role model, but an outline on
Role
how to
model.
execute those tasks. Yeah, right. So a business model generation, for example. So
Oh, hey, yeah, yeah, it makes sense to me. So I I I don't know. I do think people get do not really appreciate um process because I think that people get frustrated with, oh, I just want to do the thing. I just want to do the business.
I
And
just want
so
to execute, right? I just want to go out and make my
yes,
damn sprocket.
yes, yeah.
And if I
And
make it, they will come.
yeah, which is not true. Um and I think that's where I come from is it's like, so I agree with you in the sense that there's way too many, or there's so many options and so many ways to execute on your business and everything. There's just a lot. But at the same time, I'm also kind of, but at the same time, I also think people just don't like process or don't really appreciate the process stuff because they just want to execute. They just want to go and they want to do the thing. And I'm not against that, but I do think that that people should be more aware of how processes help them uh, execute and execute more efficiently. I maybe would be a good way of putting it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, here's another thing. It's hard to do until you've done it a couple times,
That is true.
right? So if you're a corporate person and you're trying to do this, you actually have a lot of risk to your reputation and to your career growth because you haven't done it. It's hard to execute, right? Things
Yeah,
can go wrong
yeah,
quickly, right? And it requires a lot of advanced business skills to manage it, to pull out insights,
yeah.
right? And it, it's a bigger risk than a lot of careers will permit.
Yeah.
So it takes practice. Bring someone in who's done it a few times. That's why I think it's good for a consultant to lead this kind of thing.
Yes, I would
And
definitely agree with that.
I'm not trying to sell myself as a consultant on that.
You
I'm just
should.
saying from the experiences and all the good and bad I've done, it would be I could see how scary it would be to try to execute this in a
Mhm.
meaningful way for a corporate environment or for a business where you have a lot of risk and you don't quite have a lot of the skills to do it in the first place.
Yep.
And on top of that, it's not sexy, right? It's
Well, it's
like,
definitely not sexy, and I think and people want sexy.
yeah, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
It's a
Wow.
lot of money to do it.
It is.
So if you're like just trying to and more, I'm getting to the point. I'm like, if you can't afford this part, then uh, you gotta tell me if your business doesn't succeed, will you be losing money off your table? And if so,
Yep.
I'm not doing this project for you.
Yeah.
Will this take away food from your table if it doesn't go well? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I think that's important to do because I mean you are trying to set them up for success, and if they aren't willing to listen to you
Hmm.
to become successful or to take a step in the right direction to be successful, then what's the point of you wasting your time and their money to do that?
Yeah, yeah. It takes a lot of time to build a product. But if you skip this stuff, when you build your product, there's a huge chance you're gonna be circling back way more than you should to
Mhm.
modify that product, uh, and to have left a bad attitude or taste in the marketplace from
Yeah.
your history. There's one thing of not having a perfect product out there. There's another thing to have left a bad impression on the market.
Oh, it's huge. What's it? There's a product. I can't think of it now. There's been no, Bumble is a kind of a good example of that. They just changed their business model up a little, or not the business
Well,
model. The business model is still the same. They changed their app, but they changed up their advertising, and they've taken quite a hit because their advertising was essentially promoting hookup culture.
oh,
Yeah, it's you should definitely go if you haven't. Do some lookups on commentary from it online. It's it was bad. It was terrible stuff, and it's left a bad taste in the market for the product, and so a lot of people don't like the product and don't want to be a part of it anymore.
oh
And
no.
they're
Hmm.
leaving, and they're losing market share. Another good example. So Ubisoft creates video games. Okay, and they one of their big successful video game franchises is Assassin's Creed. They're releasing a new Assassin's Creed game here soon that is set in feudal Japan. Well, let me ask you something. What race do you think the main character is?
I'm not familiar with it.
Feudal Japan, 200 years ago.
Oh, it's got to be an English guy.
It's not. It's a black guy. Okay? There is some
Okay. I mean, the only
historical.
reason I said an English guy because I was like, okay, the English conquest and going around and stuff.
Japan was never conquered. Japan shut everything down and never allowed, like, really did like work their butts off to prevent the outside world from entering, which was to their detriment. But anyway, there is a story, and it is historically accurate, of a black man ending up in Japan and becoming a retainer for a samurai. But the problem is that they're overemphasizing this guy's role in history and making him be like the main character in Japan, in feudal Japan. Like, it makes no sense.
Hmm.
So they really left a bad taste in the market, and their market share dropped significantly. It
Hmm.
was like Ubisoft. Let's see, market. No. Anyway, um, oh no, stock. There we go.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, one day, a 5 day. Like, you can see, there's like this massive, like, they were up to about 525 a share, and then they announced it and they dropped down to 436 a share. So they
Hmm.
dropped like one fifth of their value
Yeah, about 20, 18%, 20%, something.
in a single day because of
Good
the
for them.
announcement. It was so bad.
We call this a learning moment.
That's what it was. It was a learning moment. So anyway, and it's probably in anyway. The whole point in so this game that they have coming out, it's probably going to do terrible because everybody's looking at it like, this is dumb. Why are you doing this? And they've left a bad taste in the
Hmm.
market's mouth. People don't like it. So
Yep.
anyway,
Sometimes when you're a small company, you can get away with a lot.
yeah,
When you're a larger company, just do a couple case studies.
it's true. It's
Just
very
get
true.
some user feedback. It's easy to change the color of a character, right?
Get user feedback early. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They're just in their own bubble. They just don't pay attention. Stupid.
I'm glad I was never stupid.
I'm stupid all the time.
I don't believe that. I've never seen you stupid. I don't think you know what
Yeah.
stupid looks like. I don't think you can point out stupid from a mile away, unless you're pointing Tennessee.
Oh man, you're on Tennessee today. You're like ragging them hard.
Yeah, yeah. I like poor Tennessee. And I love Tennessee.
Yep.
Chick fil
Yep.
A is next.
I'm okay with that.
Right? I'm going to go to hell for making fun of Chick fil A.
Yeah, sure. Anyway. Alrighty, man. This was good.
Yeah, this was good. So